This is why we can't have nice things, Britain. This is why we can't have nice things.
And won't you start the music, get into it, won't you dance with me? Find the bass and lose it, you can do it, won't you dance with me? Move your feet and feel in the space between. You gotta give yourself a moment.
So this devblog is titled Chieftain Marksman, Top Scoring Shooter, and after a mandatory kick in the teeth I decided to glance the history section and find that there's barely anything there, because in reality this vehicle existed on, not paper, it did exist, but the only operators of this vehicle is actually Finland, who operated 7 on them based on a T-55 chassis. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. So yes, let's read the devblog. The Chieftain Marksman is an SPAA conversion of the famous British main battle tank, which combined the hull of a Chieftain with the Marksman turret developed by the Marconi Company in the 1980s. War Thunder tankers will soon have the chance to sweep the skies clear with the new Chieftain Marksman SPAA, coming to War Thunder as part of the update 1.79. In short, the top British SPAA on the Chieftain chassis with 35mm autocannons, very effective against aircraft, and the AP belt should provide a counter to armoured vehicles. So the reason they're not saying much is because Britain never actually used this vehicle, and it's interesting as to why. So the history section reads, with the development of more effective modern weapon systems deployed from aircraft capable of flying at very high speeds and low altitudes, mobile ground troops were more susceptible to air attack than ever. The British Marconi Electric Systems Company came to the same conclusion during the early 1980s and began independently developing the Marksman project after realising how little work had been done in the field of modern SPAA development. The concept of the Marksman project wasn't the development of an entirely new vehicle, but rather a modern anti-air platform that could be fitted to a wide range of suitable military vehicles, even non-British ones. So the whole idea was basically they wanted a system that would fit the turret ring of pretty much any MBT. Naturally, the platform had to be capable of dealing with most modern threats, such as high-speed attack aircraft and helicopters. In order to achieve this, Marconi engineers gave the Marksman a highly advanced radar detection and targeting system paired with the twin 35mm Oerlikon KDA cannons in a similar fashion as found on the German Flakpanzer Gepard. Testing of the construction prototype was done on the chassis of a Chinese Type 59 tank. This decision was primarily made in an effort to optimize the platform for use on similar Chinese machines in order to attract potential customers using Chinese vehicles. In 1984, further tests were conducted, only this time using the chassis of British vehicles such as the Centurion, Chieftain and Challenger 1. However, in order to further increase the number of vehicles that could potentially fit the Marksman platform, Marconi developed several adapters that allowed the platform to fit on the hulls of the turret ring diameter smaller than or in excess of 1,840mm. However, even as newer, more capable aircraft weapon systems were developed in the 80s that could easily destroy such SPAAs, the Marksman system became more or less obsolete before it was even deployed. Due to this, the primary expected customer, the British Armed Forces, didn't show any interest in adopting a conventional SPAA system such as the Marksman, and the limited number of Marksman systems was employed by the Finnish army on their ITPSV, and I'm never ever going to try to pronounce that word, that's just disgusting, 90 SPAAs, which were retired from active service in 2010 and replaced by Leopard 2 Marksman conversions, which are still in service to this day. So, the exact number is 7. They sold 7 of these to the Finnish army. It's incredible. Interesting fact, the ribbed barrel profile on the Oerlikon cannons provides faster air cooling. The greater the overheating area, the faster it cools. Yay, physics and surface area. In War Thunder, the Chieftain Marksman will be the first vehicle in the game to feature the Marksman anti-air system and will be available to all tankers as Britain's first rank 6 SPAA. Yeah, it's the only thing that will have the Marksman anti-air system. As such, the Chieftain Marksman will strive to provide experienced tankers with the highest level of anti-air protection by making deadly use of fast-firing autocannons working in tandem with a tracking radar. Unlike the Falcon that precedes it, the Chieftain Marksman will feature a modern take on conventional SPAA design. Based on the hull of the Chieftain Mark III, the Marksman offers substantially better armour protection than the Falcon, whilst keeping the same level of mobility. However, the mobility and protection might certainly be important factors for regular combat vehicles. The crucial factor on the SPAA vehicle is the ability to deal with threats in the air. Fortunately, the Chieftain Marksman has made great strides to improve in its ability over the Falcon. Now, first of all, a Chieftain is renowned among tank historians for having shithouse mobility, so I don't know what the fuck they're talking about when they say it's got an improvement over mobility over the Falcon, like seriously. And when it says better armor protection, yes, the Chieftain hull is quite tanky. It quite literally is a tank. However, the turret on this thing looks like a giant box, and that's because it is. It is only resistant to 14.5mm machine gun fire. This thing cannot go any higher than that, so the fact that this is a gigantic fucking target just says a lot. Like, this thing's literally just going to be, oh look, there's a tank there. I don't think this can be hull broken, but the turret is incredibly weak. So don't get any ideas. Like, saying that this thing has better mobility and protection over the Falcon is like saying, I don't know, an ant is stronger than a fucking gnat, but an APFSDS round is a human foot. So yeah. The first and most apparent difference are the cannons. Unlike the Falcon's 30mm Hispano-Suiza cannons, the Chieftain Marksman features a pair of Swiss Oerlikon 35mm KDA cannons as found on the German Gepard and the Japanese Type 87. Although these cannons have a slightly lower rate of fire than the Hispano cannons, they make up for it by having a longer range and more potent shells at their disposal. However, the true game changer between these two SPAs is the presence of a radar targeting system on the Chieftain Marksman. This allows the Chieftain drivers to detect enemy aircraft and track their flight trajectory throughout the engagement period, whereas shooting down enemy aircraft once proved to be a real chore from time to time thanks to the radar system on the Chieftain Marksman. The job of dealing with fast aerial threats at higher ranks has now been made easier than ever. Be sure to give the Chieftain Marksman a go in the upcoming update 1.79 for War Thunder. In the meantime, stay tuned for the news for the latest developments of War Thunder's next major update. Until then, tankers. Now I'm wondering, I can't be bothered looking this up right now, but I'm wondering, do they ever fit this system to the Challenger 1? Because I feel like it would be more prudent to put this on the Challenger 1 than it is to put it on the Chieftain. Because, I mean, neither vehicle served anyway, so I don't know. Essentially what this is a less aesthetically pleasing, slower Flak Panzer Gepard with slightly better hull armor, but that doesn't matter because the first shot this thing's ever going to see is straight through that gigantic flat piece of fucking shit that you can see right in front of you. Like, I can imagine just seeing this thing and just going, right, bam, dead. Simple as that. I'm guessing all the ammunition for the weapon is stored right behind that big flat piece of armor right there. Like, that's I don't know, but I mean, as an SPAA, your main job should be focusing on aircraft, and I see this thing, it's just going to be the same as the Gepard and the Type 87, just less slow. No, sorry, more slow, but it's going to be the same effectiveness in terms of guns. It won't be as effective as a tank hunter or, you know, an SPAA that can move overall, but it will still be an effective vehicle. And that's about it. Honestly, I don't see any more to talk about this vehicle, so hope you guys have enjoyed. It's been your boy Garage Gaming, and I'll catch you guys next time.